Hello, everybody.
Hey Frank, good morning, or good afternoon.
Good afternoon, good morning.
How you doing?
Not too bad. How are you guys? Hello, Jihua. Long time no
I
see.
know that's a beautiful three-man picture right there.
What happened?
Three of you
Hey
picture. Hi,
Ron.
Andrew.
Hey,
Okay.
hello, wife
I
of
am
Ron. Sorry, I forget your name. Sorry, Ron. How
not
you
too,
doing?
Good.
Good, good.
I'm
Good to see
Donna. How are you doing, Andrew?
you. I'm okay, thank you.
Good. I'm cooking in the back. I'm listening. I just want to say hi.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we have just a few more minutes. Give other people a chance to join us. Um, how have you guys been? Let's start with some brain activation. We usually take the time at the beginning to activate the juices of our brain, get the blood and oxygen flowing, get those neurons firing in our brain by activating our brain. Um, Reviewing the lesson. So if you guys have notes,
Uh, I
you
just
can.
wanted to say, Frank, you did a terrific job in translating today in KO7. It was
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Um, Also, it was a perfect topic because that's the one I'm sharing on Saturday.
There you go. Okay. And we talked about the root cause of life, the formula for the root cause of life last week as well. Okay. So we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What time is that on Saturday? 6 in the morning or?
It's usually 6 in the morning Pacific time. Yeah, that's
Okay.
for that I reserve that time to support the mentors who
Yeah.
want to practice sharing. So if you want to, um, you can do that. Are you scheduled to do it next this Saturday, or is somebody else doing that?
I'm not 100% sure because I missed the last one.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, if you want to, you can send a message in that group and just let them know you're interested. Okay, so there are two other people who are actively sharing. They have already taken their turn. If you want to jump in, Ron, then go ahead and send a message in that group, Engine to Value Creation group, and let them know, hey, you want to do it. Okay, I'm sure they'd be happy to get a fresh look. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So, Andrew, do you have your note with you? Would you care to
I'm,
go over some
I'm just
notes?
looking at a few pictures I took. 8 characteristics of talent: courage to admit one's fault, courage to change, perseverance, shouldering, dedication, appreciation, gratitude, humbleness, capacity to learn. Do I have the right class for that note?
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything stands out? Any impression? Okay.
Mm,
Anything that come to mind this week that you would like to share?
oh boy,
Um,
it's a
yeah,
big week. I couldn't. I wouldn't.
yeah.
I
That's
wouldn't even know where to
exciting.
start. It's. I
Mhm.
wouldn't know where to start. Trust me on that one.
Okay, all right, no problem. Okay. So while we're on the topic of lesson, impression, and realization, um, it is, obviously lesson are the thing that we've just learned, impression that things that we find applicable and usable in our life. The realization is really the meat. The realization is really where we experience a transformation. And we can only come to a realization as a consequence of having a repeated inquiry about some topic. If we have ever had a nagging question, why things are certain the way it is, how to do certain things, it is only through the process of asking questions, inquiring of ourselves and of other people and of life in general. It is only through the inquiry, the pondering, that we will come to a realization when we come across an answer. A person who never asks any question will never learn anything. A person who never asks any question will never come to any realization. Their life will never change. But a person who has great inquiry, will experience great realization. A person who have small, minor inquiry will have small realization. That's a principle that is true. Okay, if we ever want to make our life better in any way, we want to start by focusing on questioning, asking, question. Okay, it is only through the questioning that we'll experience the answer, and the answer will change our perspective and then change our life. Okay, we'll go in detail later. Um, but just a really, really quick, I guess, review of what we're doing. Okay, and hopefully that'll jot your memory, that'll trigger some point of interest, and then maybe you can share some more. Okay, we begin this little journey to toward fullness of awareness of what it means to be a human being. Okay, what it means to be a human being. In particular, we are focusing on the awareness of human life and experience. Okay, human life and experience. Because beyond experiencing life, how else can we can talk about life in any conceptual way, we can theorize, we can philosophize, but until it becomes an experience, it doesn't really have any meaning. Okay, a life experience are the things that make it very real. Okay, our relationship are the things that we experience. Our health are the things that we experience. Our financial well-being are the things that we experience in life. Okay, and obviously our inner being is the foundation of our human life and experience. And let's see, when it comes to human life and experience, let's see if I still have those uh, slides. Otherwise, I can redraw them. Let's There is an important one. Okay, okay. When it comes to human life, all the knowledge, all the experience, everything of life can be simplified by grouping them into three point of view. The worldly view are the stuff that we learn in school. The worldly, anything that is in the external world that is outside of our inner being, it's considered the worldly view. Right? We spend many years in elementary school, middle school, high school. Some of us go to college. Some of us continue with career and educational uh, 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 path. All of that is related to the world we live in. Those are called the worldly view. Okay, it explains the world we live in, and science is very good at explaining the world we live in. At the same time, there are questions and topics that directly influence our life that science cannot easily explain. And so religion offer a look at life that is beyond what science can offer. Okay, we call that the cosmological world. Cosmology is a study of the cosmos, not in the scientific way that scientists is trying to study the Big Bang, the universe, the molecules, and the atom. But cosmological perspective deals with the bigger question, like what is the meaning of life? Okay, where does life come from? Where do we go when we die? Is there such a thing as heaven or hell? Is there such a thing as other beings, higher dimensional being beyond human beings? Okay, those are cosmological questions, and religion and faith help us answer those questions. At the same time, there is the stuff that we have to deal with every day as a human being, our relationship with other people, our health, our finance, our inner being. And those are the kind of questions that can be best approached with the direction of moral philosophy. Okay, so here we try not to work too much. We try not to spend too much time, dealing with worldly matter or scientific matter because we have experts to do that already. The scientists, the engineer, they do that for us already. If you want to know something in the world, you just turn on Google and open Chat GPT and just ask an expert. Okay, so we rely on the expert of the world to give us answer about worldly matters. Same thing with religious stuff. There are religious leaders, there are religion. Okay, the major religions in the world is Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, Judaism. Okay, those are the major religions. at some point through my sharing, I will throw in some of the religious perspective. Okay, we will borrow from their perspective to explain the kind of thing that science cannot explain or the worldly view cannot explain. But for the most part, we focus on the humanistic point of view. We use moral philosophy. We try to come an understanding of what it means to be a human being, what it means to be a human being who is living at peace, who has love, who has honoring gratitude. What does it mean to be a human being who is happy, healthy, okay, wealthy, okay? All right. And so, um, as we discuss and share idea, once again, I want to quickly remind you the concept of what it means to be aware of something. Okay, when a person is unaware, either they know nothing about that thing, or if they have a negative inner state, they have a negative judgment, they have a negative thought pattern. As a person become aware of a certain topic, their inner state become positive. They tend to be a little bit more confident. That's positive. They tend to be a little bit more trusting. They are a little bit more hopeful. Those are positive inner state that leads a person toward an awareness of a certain topic. And when a person reaches a state of being where they are balanced and positively oriented, and they have positive mental images, they have favorable or beneficial source concept, then they come to a fullness of awareness of that topic. Here, we are trying to bring ourselves to a state of fullness of awareness about what it means to be a human being. Okay, so we started to look at things like mental images. Okay, you remember there is a law that govern, oops, I just dropped it. There's a law that govern all of our lives, the law of causality or law of cause and effect. To visualize that, we are talking about the seed that bears fruit. Okay, it's that simple. Every cause, there's an effect. Every seed, it will bear a fruit of that same seed. So if we look at life as the fruit, the outcome of life as a fruit, what kind of fruit do we want to bear? Do we want to bear good fruit? Do we want to bear fruit of happiness? Do we want to bear fruit of peace, good health, good wealth, good relationship? Then what kind of seed do we need to plant in order to reap those fruit? Okay. And so there are several ways of looking at the seed. So if we're gonna want, our life to be good, we want to plant good seed. So the question is what are the good seed? Okay. One of the good seed that we talked about last week is called positive mental images. This part comes from we borrow from the scientific method. The scientific method begin with the end in mind. A scientist always begin with a hypothesis of what the final outcome is to be like. And then they go back and they set up experiment and they conduct experiment and they try to arrive at that conclusion to show that, okay, that hypothesis is true. Okay. So with that scientific sort of method in play, what we have is the oops. Okay. What we have is called the principle or the formula for the root cause of life. It is also called the principle of mental images. Okay, so today in the mentor, they use the term principle of mental images. What it also says is that it is a formula for the root cause of life. Right? We all agree that the outcome of life is a consequence of all the choice that we've made. That's an important understanding. That is an important awareness. All the outcome of life that we have today is a direct consequence of all the choices that we made. And those choices, we made them because we either like it, okay, or they are suitable for us. They are suitable for who we are at the moment of choosing. And at the same time, we don't blame ourselves. Okay, the root cause of life begins with me. but it's not my fault. Why do we say that? First of all, the root cause of life begins with me. When we say that, we take full and complete ownership of the outcome of our life. We don't blame other people because the root cause of life begins with me. The choices is mine. Okay. So number one, we protect ourselves from negativity by taking full ownership of our choices and the outcome of life. And secondly, we protect ourselves by not blaming ourselves. It's not other people's fault. It's not our fault either. Why? Because at the moment of choosing, we always choose the best thing for ourselves. Okay, that is an important realization. At the moment of choosing, we always make the best choice. Afterward, when we get the outcome, we get a consequence, then we can judge that outcome to be negative or positive and like or dislike, and then we go back and say, oh, yeah, they're bad choices. But at the moment of choosing, given what we know, given our state of being, given our awareness and perception, we always make the best choice possible. Even if between two very distasteful choices, we choose the one that less distasteful. Okay, right? If you notice that sometimes there are two bad choices, but we always choose the one that is less bad. So that is the best choice that we make. And therefore, we cannot blame ourselves, nor do we blame other people. And there is a power and freedom in taking full and complete ownership of our choices. When we say the root cause of life begins with me, but it is not my fault. Okay. We also talk about where do those choices come from? Okay. Those choices come from our belief system, our belief. And those beliefs have a certain direction. Okay. Those beliefs have a certain direction. We are always 100% believing in something or 100% believing its opposite. We never partially believe in. If we believe in something that align with our desire, that is a positive belief. If it is a positive belief, it will be a positive choice that will give us positive outcome. If we believe in something that goes against our desire, then it is a negative belief that will give negative choices and it will give negative outcome in life. Okay? That is an important part. So we want to start to examine our belief. Okay? If a person, let's say, believe that they can run a marathon, okay? And if they want to run a marathon, if they want, let's say they want to run a marathon and they believe that they can run the marathon, then they will go to work on becoming worthy of running a marathon. But if a person, let's say, want to run a marathon, okay, they desire to run a marathon. Let's say a person wants to run a marathon, but they believe that running a marathon is difficult, is not for them. It will bring pain. It will bring injury. Then their belief goes against the desire, and then guess what? They're not gonna, they're not gonna be able. They're not gonna make the choices that will align with what they want, which is running a marathon. All right. So today in the mentor class, there's a wonderful um, example that Master Guimin shared about her belief um, about marriages. Well, you know what? Let's take one more step before let's take one more step. Okay. Another step is where do our belief come from? Our belief come from our mental images. Okay, our mental images are made up of our hearing and seeing, our talking and knowing. Hearing and seeing, talking and knowing. What we hear, what we see, the stuff that we input, they influence what we say, what we talk. Okay, we're always talking to ourselves, and what we talk eventually make up our knowing. And it's very simple to determine what a person beliefs are. You just listen to what they say. You hear what they're saying, then you know exactly what they want, what they believe. So Master Gwemin, we're talking about marriages. And as she was growing up, she had accumulated and acquiring the kind of hearing and seeing related to marriage that was negative. That if you get married and you live with the in-law, you will be mistreated by the in-law. If you get married and you live with only your husband, you may get mistreated by your husband. And so all of her mental images were negative. And that influenced her belief about marriages. She thought that marriages were negative, were bad. And so she, basically stayed single for a very long time. Okay, I think in her beyond her 40s. It is only after she changed her hearing and seeing about marriages that her belief changed, her choices changed, and the outcome of her life changed. Okay. Um, and that is the power of belief. Okay. Belief that align with your desire. Number one, that we know what we desire. And we want to make sure that our belief align with the desire, not against with our desire. And if we can align our belief with our desire, then we can eventually make the choices that is appropriate, that is suitable, that is a match for our belief and desire, and we're going to get the outcome that we desire. It's very, very simple. Okay. And that the mental images, according to the scientific way of looking at it, is the outcome. Okay. Clear image equals outcome. Literally. Clear mental images equals outcome. And if we want to change the outcome, you change the images. To change image, change your life. Okay. Change image, change your life. So that's the review of last week. Any questions so far? Any impressions so far?
Can you just clarify
Yeah.
that image? I don't want to guess. Can you just tell me what that image is? Images, give me an example.
Mental images is a word that summarizes everything that we hear, that we see, that we talk, and that we know. Okay, those are called mental images. They make up our mental images. Okay, every word that we hear, everything that we see, the word that we hear, everything that we see, it will determine how we talk, what the kind of thing that comes out of our mouth, the kind of thing that we talk to ourselves. All of that makes up our knowing. And so together, it is the word that we call mental images. Okay. It's just a conceptualizing or visualization of the idea that our hearing and seeing are the content of our mind. And those are called images. And when we imagine, we either imagine in words or imagine in pictures, and we will express that by talking to other people, and that represent our knowing. So altogether, we call those mental images. All right, you can paint a picture with 1,000 words, right? Which is our talking. Okay, so the idea of a mental images are the stuff that is in our mind that that is formed as a consequence of our hearing and seeing. Okay, it is causality at work, literally, directly. For every seed of hearing, the seed of seeing, every picture, every word that we hear, they make up the seed that will eventually grow into a tree that will bear fruit. But so if we don't take ownership of that planting of seed, if we do not start to manage our hearing and seeing, if we do not start to control the input, guess what's going to happen to the output? Yeah.
Negative.
We cannot, if we don't start to filter or control the input, right? The planting of those seeds. And I mean, in your garden, if you just let weed, okay, if you just let weed uh, uh, um, get planted in your garden, yeah, you're gonna get weed, okay? But if we consciously filter what we hear and what we see, okay, we only pick and choose the good seed, right? We nurture those good seed with our way of talking. Eventually, it become our knowing, and those are, together a positive mental or positive
Can,
picture of life.
can you remind me how we said we were going to do that? We have something that's not so good that we're seeing or hearing.
Okay. For
We're
now,
we need to be in balance. I get that. What
okay,
was
forget about that part just yet. That's good. That's a good. I'm glad that you still remember the lesson on being balanced. Okay. The first step is to start to pay attention. Okay. Take back ownership. Be the supervisor of this operating machine that's constantly working. Okay? You can start to take note and pay attention to the kind of stuff that we hear and the kind of stuff that we see. Turn on the
Oh,
TV.
I hear
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
I
turn on the
see you.
TV.
You're
Okay.
speaking. And then that last one. Yeah. I think I remember that part now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I got it.
yeah, just start to watch the hearing and seeing. Okay. Turn on the TV. Okay. Listen and watch.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself, okay, first first we have to kind of define what we want in life, right? The outcome, right? Scientific method begin with the outcome. What kind of quality of life do we want? Do we want a positive outcome in life? Or do we want negative? Do we want treasure or trash in our garden? If we want treasure in our garden, then we take a look at the kind of seed that has been planted. You turn on the TV and say, okay, is that politician saying words of treasure, or is that politician giving me trash? Is that celebrity giving me words of inspiration, kindness, words that will bring me joy and serenity, or are they words of resentment and blame? Okay, you start to pay attention to the hearing and seeing. We keep in mind the outcome. We want a positive outcome in life. Then what kind of seed are we going to start to input? When we talk to our coworker, okay, next tomorrow we're going to show up to when the coworker, we start with an outcome in mind. I want a positive outcome in my life. I want peace, I want happiness, I want health, and I want wealth. I want a whole, a whole health. Then you start listening. Oh, what is my coworker talking about? Is what they're saying going to contribute to me having good health, good wealth, good relationship? Is what they're saying going to give me, serenity? Is what they're saying going to help me feel positive and balanced? And look at the picture. Look at the scenery around. Look at the interaction of people. That is our seeing. Is what I am seeing conducive to giving me the experience of life that is peace and happiness? So we have to be clear about what we want. That is a scientific method. You begin with the end in mind. If the end in mind is positive and balanced, then we can go back and compare. Okay, now we start to pay attention to the thing that is going on around us. We are now becoming aware. Okay. Before this, we thought we were aware, but maybe not so much. Information just kind of flow in and out, and they're contributing to our images, and our images is a jumble mess of positive and negative. There are a bunch of weed in our garden as much as there are, wonderful fruit. And after a while, we can't tell the difference between good seed and bad seed and good fruit and bad fruit. We thought, we think life is bad because our garden is full of crap. But that's not. It is because we have been allowing negative seed to be planted and nurtured, and now they've grown up to be negative fruit. Okay. And so we can look at another person as well, and you look, okay, if that person is constantly talking about negative stuff, then guess what? Their life experience is already negative at that moment in time. If we open our mouth and the thing that come out of our mouth is negative, then guess what? At that moment in time, our experience of life is negative. Right? So the question is, do you really want to keep on planting and nurturing those weed, or do we want to pluck the weed out and plant some new seed? Do you guys get that?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
It's
Okay,
like when
so
you hear somebody saying a negative message, you hear it, but you can also control what you hear. Like you don't want to hear the negative part, so you don't go to your emotions, say, "Oh, you're wrong." You go to a different part of your mind and you analyze it first.
okay. We'll talk about wisdom. Okay, we'll talk about wisdom, and there will be some
Hmm.
powerful tools to help us filter or not filter. Okay, there are different levels of wisdom. Some certain levels of wisdom will help us filter the hearing, seeing. Some level of wisdom will help us just be even without the filtering. I think we'll try to get to that today if we can. Okay, having wisdom is to be able to um, appropriately choose the right kind of thought, the right kind of behavior, right kind of awareness at any given moment in time that is conducive and in alignment with what we desire, okay, a positive outcome in life, okay? Okay, so now that we agree that we want positive, good outcome in life, okay? We're going to start to plant some positive seed in terms of hearing and seeing so that we can talk and we can know the thing that is positive. So let me see if I can share a couple of nice positive seed in terms of hearing and seeing. Okay. Um, yeah, let's draw. Let's draw some more, some new stuff. Okay. Let's draw. I don't think I draw the boat in this class yet. So let's draw the boat. Okay. You can draw with me. I invite you to draw with me. We're going to draw a boat. Okay. It's going to look like this. Draw a Vietnamese boat. Common, simple boat. Okay. Know that this is some beneficial, positive hearing and seeing. Okay. Okay, a boat, look like that. And if you are unclear, I will make it clear by writing it down. Okay, so those of you who are mentor, you want to make sure you write down uh, what what you're drawing. Okay, writing a boat. Now this boat is floating on a river. Okay, boat is floating on a river, and this river has a current, okay, that goes from point A to point B. Okay, we're gonna label that too. It is a current, a water current to R, right? Yeah, current that goes from A to B. Boat is floating on a river. The river has an existing current that goes from A to B. Now, can you imagine that if this boat would just float on the river, it can go from A to B? Very simple, right? No effort. Just float on the river, you go from A to B. If this boat was to have, let's say, a person on it, and the person is putting some effort into paddling it, draw a straw hat. If the boat has a person, the person puts some effort paddling, and they are paddling along the line of the current, then you can imagine the boat will go from A to B more quickly with a little bit of effort. It's already floating from A to B. Now with a little bit of effort paddling, it'll go from A to B more quickly. And of course, if this boat had a motor in it, an engine, we invest some resources in the motor and we align the motor to go along the line, the direction of the current from A to B, then you can imagine the boat go from A to B very, very quickly. Okay. Of course, you can also imagine the opposite. So this is called aligned with, let's say, use the word aligned. Aligned with the current, okay? Aligned with. Of course, there's another scenario, okay? There's the other scenario is that we try to go from B to A. This is against the current. If you try to go against the current without effort, can it happen? No. You have to put effort. If we're going to go against the effort, we have to, if we're going to go against the current, we have to put in effort. We can row the boat against the current. We can even put on an engine, a motor, go against the current, and we can still go from B to A. Okay, that is possible. However, the moment that we stop the effort, the moment that we let go, the boat will flow right back to where we were. We wasted all that effort. Not only that, the effort that we commit against to go against the current, um, it could be tremendous, especially if the current is really fast and if we want to go somewhere that is against the current. So what this picture demonstrate is that boat is like our life. Okay, the boat is like our life. The current represents principles and laws. Okay, the current represent principles and laws. If our life aligns with principles and laws, especially universal principles and natural laws, if our life aligns with universal principles and natural laws, then we can get from A to B very simply, with very little effort. If we put in effort, we can go there very fast. We invest resources, put a motor on, we can go there really, really fast. But if we go against principles and law, we can. Yeah, we do that all the time. We can put in the effort and go against principles and laws. We can still get where we want, pay the price for doing that. Okay. Not only do we pay the price with our time, our effort, our money, but oftentimes the price of our pain and suffering. Okay. We can get to where we want, yeah. But the moment that we stop the effort, we waste all that effort and we pay the price. Okay. So the point of this is that do we really, we can always we can always get to where we want if we can identify the current that would take us there in a simple and reasonable and quick way. Okay, we can get to where we want. But if we align ourselves with principles and law, identify which current is gonna take us from A to B quickly, then go. The other opposite is to spend our time and effort, pain and suffering, resources to go against the current, and we may get there, but we do waste a lot of time, we do waste a lot of effort, and in some cases, pain, suffering, and losses. Okay, so with this in mind, the question you got to ask is, okay, what current are we gonna align ourselves with? What are some principles and laws? Fortunately, we already started learning one of them, the law of causality, of seed and fruit, of cause and effect. Okay, by recognizing the law of causality, we recognize that every seed, every fruit has to have a seed of the same type. If we want a positive fruit, we're going to have to plant a positive seed. It's that simple. Many people experience an outcome, a fruit of life that is negative, and they wonder, why is my life so bad? But if you recognize that the law of causality is a natural law that governs all of our life, then the answer is simple. You have been planting negative seed. If a person's relationship is negative with their spouse, their partner, their co-worker, their children, that is a fruit of life. What is the seed? Well, guess what? We already talked about that. The seed of a bad relationship is the mental images that we have been harboring in our mind regarding our spouse, our partner, our co-worker. Okay? Law of causality, the outcome, the cause, the fruit, and the seed. Now that we know that the law of causality governs all of our life, that every seed that we plant, we can get the fruit of the same type of seed. Okay, so how do we go about planting positive seed? Okay, now that we know that if we want to bear good fruit, we got to plant good seed. So what are some good fruit? Okay, what are some good seed? Okay, well, that's some good tea. And before that, let's review another principle that we talked about last week. I don't know if I still have the picture. Does anybody remember what other principle we talked about? I can redraw it if we don't have it. I'll redraw it. Okay. One principle that derived directly from the law of causality is this one. Remember this one? We have a dark room.
Dark room.
Yeah, we have the dark room.
Remove the darkness. Nope.
Yeah, this yeah, this is the principle of light. Principle of light. Okay. There's a current. Okay, there is a current that goes from A to B. The principle of light basically says that the best way to brighten up the room is to bring in light. Okay. Many people make the mistake of trying to go against the current, and they do that by trying to remove darkness. Okay. We mistakenly try to remove the darkness. And how do we do that? First of all, we have to recognize that the problem, darkness, represents the problems of life. Okay. And our life is very simple. We can simplify it into 4 areas. The area of our inner being, which is the stuff that goes on inside of us. Okay. The area of our health, the area of our relationship, and the area of our finances. Okay. We also recognize that they are interrelated, right? Inner being is related to our health. Our inner being is related to our relationship. Inner being is related to our finances, and vice versa. Okay. They are all interrelated. In fact, life seems so complicated because of this interweaving interconnectedness. But once we understand that there is really only 4 areas of life to worry about, suddenly life becomes simple. Okay, suddenly life becomes simple. If we have a problem with our finances, it is never the finance that's the problem. It is something going on in our inner being, our awareness about money, our awareness about business, our awareness about spending and budgeting. Or something is going on with our relationship, whether our relationship with our business partner or our relationship with our spouse that affect our finance. Or something going on with our health. We may have to spend money to pay for those cancer treatment. Okay. So once we understand that all of life problem can be reduced to simply 4 areas, then we can manage our health, manage our relationship, manage our inner being. And when those are healthy and well, our finance will be healthy and well as well. And the mistake that we do is we try to fix the problems of our life. Okay, we try to remove the darkness by fixing the problem. When we have a problem with our finance, we try to fix our finance. We try to borrow some more money. We try to get a second job. Okay. If we try to get a second job, then we basically pay with our health. Our health goes down. And if our health goes down, it's going to pull our finance down later. Okay. Um, when we have trouble with relationship, we blame other people or we change spouse. If we don't change ourselves, we just change spouse, do you think our new relationship is going to be any different? If the root cause of life begins with me, And the seed is, my choices, then changing spouses is not going to change the next marriage if we don't change our awareness of perception. If we get sick, which is the darkness in our health, what do? We go to the doctor, we expect medication, we expect surgery, right? Many people go on diet. Many people, want to change the physical look with, plastic surgery and all that stuff. That just try to remove the darkness. But if we don't get to the state of health, then the problem is going to come back, right? People with chronic illnesses, they take medication every day for many, many years. It doesn't make them healthy. It just kind of try to remove the darkness. Okay, so understanding that we have been mistakenly trying to remove the darkness in all these areas of our life, what can we do now to bring in the light? Okay, what can we do to bring light into our inner being? What can we do to bring light into our health, bring light into our relationship, and bring light into our finance? Okay, those are the real question, right? So let's draw that house again, but this time bigger. Okay, so it's nice and big, almost a whole page. Okay, all the way up here. There you go. Label it, same thing, inner being. Okay, here, let's call this our health. E-A-L-T-H. Here is our relationship. Okay, and on top, our finances. Okay, all right. And in the middle, we're going to draw a hexagon like this. Okay, and from each of the corner of the hexagon, connect it to a corner or a wall of the house. So this side corner gonna go sideways, and this upper left corner go into the roof. Okay, and let's draw some nice candle. We're going to be lighting up this house. So each of this is a candle. Yeah, like that. Up there like that. I'm going to draw a candle like that and like that. Okay, one of those. And put some flame on there. Nice red flame for now. Okay. Red flame. Take some time to draw this nice house because we are creating mental images, positive mental images. And these flame have, there you go, they shine. It's an important step in inventing new possibility, new mental images. This house of ours is going to be so bright because of all these nice candles being lit up. And so we label them. Okay. On the bottom, let's use green. Bottom, this is the candle of our wisdom, the light of wisdom. On the left, the light of mentality. Okay. On the right, the light of our character. On the upper left, this is our physical vitality. On the right, our competency. Yeah, con, hello, con. The top, our material wealth. Material, I'm just going to write material for now. Okay. Okay. Wisdom, mentality, character, physical vitality, competency, material. All of that is tied up, unified in the middle by the candle of our integrity. Okay, and here I will also write the word virtue because the official sharing in the Vietnamese uh, class is the word virtue. But there's a difference between integrity and virtue, but go ahead and write both of them down. Integrity and virtue. So, whereas previously we focused on the darkness, we focus on the problems of life. Once we understand the principle of light, we understand that, first of all, wherever there's light, there's no darkness. Okay, wherever there is light, there is no darkness. Okay, this house could have been dark for 1,000 years, but the moment a single candle of light is lit up, it begins to dispel the darkness. That is an important point that I want to imprint upon your mind. Our life may be dark for 1,000 years, but the moment one single candle of light is lit up, it begins to dispel the darkness. Okay, so instead of trying to remove the problems of our health, instead of removing the problem of our relationship, remove the problem of our finances, what we do is we begin to light up the room of our life, beginning with wisdom. From wisdom, we will light up the candle of our mentality, okay, which involves our thinking and our attitude. We light up the candle of our character. We light up the candle of our physical vitality, okay, physical health. Our competency, our capacity, our ability, our skill, our competency. And then the material wealth will come in. In fact, if you light up the sixth candle of wisdom, mentality, character, physical vitality, competency, and you have integrity, it is impossible to be materially poor. It is impossible to be materially poor when you are holistically rich in these other six dimensions. So that's why this is called the house of holistic wealth. Okay, or if you like, house of holistic health. It is impossible to be materially poor if you are holistically rich. Rich in wisdom, rich in mentality, rich in character, rich in physical vitality, rich in competency. You have rich in virtue, which make up a person of integrity. Then the material stuff is just going to come in. Okay? If and when we run into material problem, instead of trying to fix the material problem, instead of trying to fix our debt, instead of trying to fix our expenses, take a look. It could be the problem of our health or our inner being or our relationship. And instead of trying to fix that, just go back to work on your wisdom. Go back to work on your integrity. What do you get so far, Andrew?
I like it.
Okay. Okay. In fact, if you take a look, notice that it's like this. Imagine our house, we got the roof, we got the two walls or the pillars, and then we have this foundation, right? If our health collapse, usually our finance will collapse, right? People spend money to fix the finance. If a person have a problem with the relationship, let's say they get divorced, right? Immediately half the finance goes away, right? If you lose a relationship, if you lose our health, you're gonna lose a lot. But if the foundation of your inner being is in trouble, basically, you lose everything. The whole house will collapse. So we begin by working on the seed of our inner being. We plant the seed of wisdom. From the seed of wisdom, that would give rise to a positive or balanced mentality. With positive mentality and physical vitality, guess what? This is our health, right? Our health is comprises of our mental health as well as the physical health. Physical vitality, mentality makes up the wall of our health. With a person who has wisdom, good mentality, good virtue, guess what? Other people recognize that as a person of character. And when you are a person of character, guess what? Does people want to be close to you? Yeah. Do people want to be close to people of character? Yeah, they do. Guess what? Your relationship is strengthened and bolstered. Okay. And if you a person of good character and you have competency, right? Great skills, great communication skill, talent, for example, okay, then you flock a lot more people. You become a lot more influential. Okay. If you have good health, if you have good people, if you have good wisdom, your inner being, and guess what? Simple to make money. From people, people refer job opportunity, business opportunity. If you have the strength to go to work, to get up in the morning at 4 a.m., okay, for example, the physical vitality, then it's a simple matter to make money. We don't even have to make any effort to work for money. Money will just come. People will just give it to you in terms of opportunities, in terms of contracts and things like that. Okay. Um, and integrity is the glue. Integrity is the one thing that bring everything together. Without integrity, everything will tend to fall apart. And we'll go into detail a little bit later. There's a definition of what it means to be integrity, a person of integrity. In fact, the word integrity comes from the root word integrate, right? Integrate is to bring together. Okay. In math, when you integrate, you take the sum under the curve. When we integrate a group of people, we bring them together. Okay. Social integration, different races, you bring them together. We integrate everything. So integrity is a state of bringing everything together. And here I define integrity is a state of being whole, perfect, and complete. Okay. Whole, perfect, and complete. Okay. So any impression, any question so far before we move on and talk a little bit and talk in details about wisdom and things like that?
No, I'm good.
No? Okay, okay. Ron, how about you? Any impression, anything you want to share from your experience? I know you've been following the material for a while. How in your life have you been able to apply the seven holistic candles or seven holistic wealth?
I'm looking after my health, my inner being,
Okay.
and also my relationship is good. Everything is working out good for me right now.
Okay.
And I'm in mentor with seven, so that is one of my desires too, is go through mentor seven and complete it. And I've started that now, so I'm building a good report for myself.
Okay. Thank you for that, Ron. All righty. How about you, Marianne? You've been following for a while too. There you go. There's your hand. Go ahead, Marianne.
I'm
Please.
still driving though.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, how did it change your life though, Ron? Like, if you don't mind sharing. Can you hear me?
Oh, what was that?
Oh, you said the principle, the what is it, principle of life, or like up until now, the whatever you learn change your life, right, and your relationship.
Yes.
So how did the principle change your life?
Any
Like,
specific example?
yes, exactly.
How has it changed my life?
Yeah. How'd you like before? How is it now? In which area, for example? In
Relationship.
okay, go
Relationship.
ahead.
My past life was not as good in a relationship. Um, and now because Donna, she's my value connector. She introduced me to wit, and with this knowledge too, with her, I've had a better relationship. And with wit, it's bringing us even closer. Um, I don't know.
Uh,
I've never really thought
since
of it.
that we have a bunch of mentor here, let
Yeah,
me please give me a chance to uh, share some tip on how to share as a mentor.
yeah.
If you're gonna be a mentor, a coach, a trainer, then when you share, try to uh, paint a picture, visualize it. So instead of saying my life is better, that has no picture. Nobody can imagine what that means. But if you can give a concrete example, for example, uh, in my relationship with my son before,
Hmm.
I the darkness that I experienced in life with that I would get angry when my son disobey. Okay. I would insist that he does something, and if he doesn't something, I would punish him, I would yell at him, I would get angry. And obviously, that is trying to fix the problem. That's trying to remove the darkness, right? The darkness is that my son doesn't listen. Me trying to yell and enforce the behavior. Yeah, I can get he'll listen. He'll do what I tell him to do, but that make him go negative, make me go negative. Now both father and son are now negative. Our relationship has gone down. Okay, and even if he was to obey, he would be doing out of fear. That is negative. Okay. And so the relationship, even though I got what I want in terms of his behavior, but the price I paid for rowing against the current, against the principle, the flow, the current of the principle of life, the price I pay is a undesirable relationship or a negative relationship with my son. Once I learned the principle of light, I learned that wherever there is light, there is no darkness. Okay, so instead of trying to remove the darkness of my son's behavior, I start to focus on the positive behavior. So instead of focusing on what he does that I don't want, I focus on the many things he does that I do want, right? If you make a list of all the things that our son, our children, our coworker, our spouse do, let's make a list of 10 to 50 things. Does all of them come out to be undesirable? No. There are things that they do that we agree with, right? And here's the principle of light. Whatever you try to magnify, they will tend to do more. The candle, if let's say, I don't know, let's say taking going to taking a bath at the right time. Okay, let's say taking a bath at the right time is the kind of behavior that I want to enforce, and versus playing the piano. Okay, so there's two behavior. I tell him to practice piano, he doesn't practice piano. If I get mad, if I get angry, and I force him to play the piano, yes, he may do it. That's removing the darkness temporarily, but his mentality, his energy goes negative, I go negative. And the next time he will continue to not really want to do it, or if he does it, it'll be out of fear. That's one behavior. There's another behavior is that he let's say he takes the bath on time. And he happened to take the bath on time. Okay, that is a behavior I want, and that's also the behavior that I see him perform. So instead of focusing on the fact that he does not practice piano, I focus on the fact that he take the bath on time, compliment it, make a big deal out of it. Oh wow, Menduk is so good. He's so responsible. He is mature. He knows how to take care of himself. He understand, the health quality of taking a bath. He understand doing it on time. He is responsible and able to do it on his own. And what we do is we focus on the positive. And when we focus on the positive, first of all, it reinforces, let him know that that is a positive behavior. So the next time he will just simply do it. Okay. He will continue to take a bath on time. And so after a while, we don't need to tell him to take a bath on time anymore. Secondly, the consequence of him receiving positive reinforcement in taking a bath bring his energy level up, right? We learned about the human construct already, right? The human structure or the energy. It is also the map of the human energetic structure. When a person is positive, he feels that his parent appreciate him. He feels that his parent acknowledges him. He feels that he is an important person, just taking a bath. But we acknowledge, we make a big deal out of it. We brighten up the candle of taking a bath. What that does is make it simpler for him to listen when we tell him to do things like play piano. Ah, okay. See, if you focus on negative and you are negative, it's going to be difficult and it's not going to work. But if you focus on the positive, what we do is we raise his energy level, we raise his self-confidence, self-esteem. And so when it comes to telling him to do something that he's not used to or he doesn't like, it actually is simpler for him to do it because he is on a positive state. Okay, so to rephrase that, to say that statement again, whatever you magnify, you will get more of it. And if we go through the day and we list all the good thing of a person do, appreciate them for that, acknowledge them publicly, recognize them for it, right? Dad would tell mom, mom would tell dad, oh, Minduk is really responsible today, daddy. Minduk, he took the bath on his own. Oh yeah, another one. This is a wonderful one that I make a big deal out of. When he takes a bath, I would take the dry towel. Usually I take a bath first. I would use the towel that would get wet. It would be the one closest to the shower. I would intentionally take the dry towel and I would put it next to the shower or the bathtub. And I say, okay, here's the dry one for you. And he copies that one. That is a positive behavior. He copies that one. He said, Daddy, I put a dry towel next to the shower for you. Most of us, we may take for granted for it. But me and my wife, we make sure to make a huge deal out of it. It is like the biggest accomplishment, and we do it every time he does it. Oh my goodness, Minduk is so responsible. He is so caring. He put the dry towel so that daddy and mommy could get the dry towel. And every time he does it, we reinforce it. And when we reinforce it, he feels good. He is a person of value, right? He knows that he's appreciated. And so the act of putting the dry towel onto next to the shower becomes a natural habit. Whereas he may have done it only one time, if we didn't compliment him, if we didn't acknowledge it, he may have done it one time and he forget about it. But we make sure that he knows that that is the positive behavior. So now every time I take a bath, after he does, I always get a dry towel. That makes the family positive, right? And so when it comes to tell him to do things that I want, and he's not used to it just yet, he's already in a positive state. It is simpler to play the piano. And at the same time, you apply the principle of light when it comes to piano. Whereas previously, you do it because I tell you to do it. Right? We use power, we use fear, we use, pressure. But now, no. I want you to play piano because that will help develop your brain. It will make you smarter. Okay? And if you're smarter, you will study better, you will become successful in life. Okay? You want candy? In the future, you're gonna be able to work and make your own money and buy as much candy as you want. We give them good, positive mental images about playing piano. Whereas previously, do it because you have to and become negative. And so the principle of light is a powerful, powerful principle. Instead of focusing on the undesirable stuff, the more you focus on the undesirable stuff, the more you're going to get it. That's how life works. Okay, cause and effect. The more you focus on the bad seed, the more bad seed you're gonna find. The more you focus on the bad seed, you're essentially nurturing the bad seed. You're gonna get bad fruit. Instead of nurturing that bad seed, you just kind of set it aside and focus on nurturing the good seed. Out of 10 things that a person do, maybe one or two that is undesirable, set that aside for a moment and focusing on the other eight, nine things that they do that is good. Acknowledging for it, make a big deal out of it. They feel so good. After a while, their energy goes up. Then it is more simple to affect the behavior. You guys get that?
Yep.
You see how I paint a picture, Ron and Marianne? You see a very clear picture of Minduk and the shower and the towel and the piano. Those are real physical, life images. So I want you to practice when you share. Don't just say my life is better than before. There's no picture. See if you can. You can do that now. Try it right now, or you can try it later. Or if Andrew, if you,
I just want to tell you something. I don't know why I feel like telling you this.
yeah, please do.
Cooperate with your child is
I'm sorry.
terrific. It works. And the reason it works so well is because you've been doing it that style since he was a baby. But when you try that with some kid who's got no structure and he's 8, 9 years old, they got freedom, they had no structure, and you try talking with that encouragement, I just want to say it's going to be a lot more difficult and take a lot more time. But I commend you because you've always been like that with your child.
No, I would not always like that with my child. That's the beauty of it. I was
Really?
very negative. Yeah. Oh, I was negative. Okay. I spanked my kid. Okay.
So
I was the guy who spanked my kid. Okay. So I was not always like that. It feels as if it sounds as if I've done it all my life, and no. It's only in the past 2 or 3 years
you
when I started
made
the
a
philosophy.
drastic change. You made a drastic change in
I was the
your
one, yeah, I spanked my son. Okay. So he's a real life practice. Okay. What you've just done is you talked. Okay. Look at that talking. What just came out of the talking is that positive or negative images about children in general, or your children, or whoever that you were talking about. And that talking, whether it's positive or negative, you notice that it comes from our hearing and seeing. All right. We have been acquiring and accumulating mental images about children in such a way that when we talk and we know, it becomes that way. So if you see children as difficult, if you see children as not listening, remember this. Yeah. What's this? To us, it's a marker, right? But to a puppy dog, it's not a marker. It's a toy or a bone. Without, if I leave the room, if you leave the room, if the dog leave the room, then what is it?
it's a toy.
No, it's not a toy. There's nobody in the room to
It's
call it a
really
toy.
it's a marker. To us,
No,
it's a
I'm
marker.
not here. You're not here. It can't be a marker.
Oh, then it's nothing.
It's nothing. It only becomes something when somebody associates some meaning to it, because the essence of this is nothing. Because the essence of this is nothing, it has the potential to be anything, an unlimited potential to be anything. It could be a bone. The dog comes back in, it thinks it's a bone. I walk in, I can think of a pen. But because this is nothing, essentially nothing, it can be anything. It can be gold. It is now an instrument of value creation. And I made that up out of thin air. I just made that up. It is an instrument of value creation. It is gold. So when it comes to your children or any other children, what they are is essentially nothing. They only become something where they are difficult or they are hard to teach, or only because of what come in here determine what it is, not from itself. There's no essence in it. It's
So
essence.
what about habit?
So we give you a tool, right? We give you a tool to begin by monitoring what we hear and we see. We can start monitoring what we hear and what we see about ourselves. Okay? We talk. We can start monitoring what we hear that are talking, monitoring our talking. Oh, okay, I'm hearing negative things about my children. I'm getting negative images about other children. And we go back to the essence of all things is nothing. Okay? And then we can change what we talk about. Instead of talking about the negative stuff, okay, you can begin by focusing on the stuff that are positive. Okay, get your energy to be positive. And at some point when your energy is balanced and positive, then it becomes more simple to invent a new possibility. It can be a little hard to, look at a child who doesn't listen and call, oh, you're such a great child. No, at that moment. If I trying to tell my son to play piano and he doesn't want to play piano, it's not possible to see, oh, he's such a good kid. You're such a good listener. No, you have to switch and look at something else. Find something else that is actually positive. Yes, okay, he doesn't want to play piano, but he put the towel next to the shower. Ooh, okay. He hugs me before bed. He said goodbye. All of these positive things. And when you start to do that, you start to flood your mental images of positivity. Then when you go back to the other things, you already approach it from a balanced and positive angle. And then when you talk to them, it'll come out. It'll come out as an energy. It'll come out as an attitude, as a mentality. The other person will feel your positivity and it will actually be more simple to affect their behavior. My son will play piano when I tell him in a balanced and positive tone. When I tell him from a space that he is a good son, is a good kid, that he's an intelligent, a creative performer, not from the space of, oh, you are not, you're a terrible kid, you don't listen. But I have to create an image before I tell him to play the piano. But before creating image, I have to come back to he's nothing. He's no one. He can be anything. Okay? Did you get something out of that?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That is called expanded awareness. Awareness about yourself. You begin to take ownership. You are now the master of your outcome in life. All because we have been learning to plant the good seed. Okay. Speaking of which, let's see if we can clarify that seed a little bit better. Okay, so the first seed, let me think. First seed, do I want to talk about the triangle? Yeah, let's talk about the triangle of reality just real quick. Because we've been using it, but I didn't talk about it. But here we go. You get a good clear image and a good source concept of the idea of the reality triangle. We've been seeing me draw pictures. Okay, reality, life, things that are real. If you take a moment, we will notice that everything in this world, this universe, has a material manifestation to it. Matter. Okay, there's a substance, there's matter. Okay, in this physical world, everything that we can see, touch, feel, measure, weigh, they are made of matter, that we call them material. As scientists study matter, they zoom down to the microscopic level, and they discover that every specific matter has an energetic component to it. Okay? They vibrate. Take, for example, lead and gold. Lead has a certain material expression that is different than gold. Lead is kind of dull, gold is shiny. That is a material expression or a physical manifestation. Okay, so scientists study lead and gold, two different elements, and they noticed that lead has a specific vibrational energy frequency, and gold has a specific vibrational energy. And that specific vibrational energy give rise to the material expression. Okay, so much so they are so specific that a scientist can look into a planet billions of miles away. They cannot put their hands on it, but all they have to do is measure the vibrational energy frequency of that planet, and they know what that planet is made of, what material it is. Okay, so the energy, the vibrational energy will determine the material expression of that thing. Okay, and they go zoom into more. Oh, okay, so why does lead have that specific energy, and why does gold have that specific energy? So they zoom down to the very fundamental level, and they notice that, oh, the arrangement of protons and electron in lead is different than the arrangement of proton and electron in gold. And so they simply call it information. Okay. And this information can be expressed in scientific terms of, the protons and electrons and stuff like that. And by understanding that everything that has a certain material expression is made up of a specific arrangement of information, then they can go about changing the information in order to get a different material expression. Scientists can change lead into gold by changing the arrangement of proton and electron, the numbers of protons and electrons. If you change the number of proton of lead into the number of protons and electron of gold, guess what? It's going to vibrate exactly like gold, and it's going to be gold. It's that simple. Everything in this universe has a material expression that we can measure, touch, feel, taste. And now we're going to expand it. Anything that can become aware of is a material expression. That material expression comes from some energetic component, and that energy component came from some specific, basic, fundamental information, the way it is made up. Okay, that is the physical world. Let's extend that to the humanistic view. Would you agree that a person who is happy has a certain material expression of happiness that is different from a person who is sad? Yeah, right? A person who is happy look, feel, talk differently than a person who's sad. You can tell right away. That is their material expression. Okay, so we ask if they have if a person who's sad and a person who is happy has a different material expression, what is the energy component? Okay, and if they have a different energy component, ooh, what's the information within that person? What is the information within a sad person that is different than the information that is in a happy person? And if we can change the information within the sad person to equate the information within the happy person, guess what? The energy is going to change and the material expression will change. If you can turn lead into gold, you can turn a sad person into a happy person. What about a person who is successful versus a person who has failed? The material expression of the person who's successful is going to be different than the material expression of a person who has failed. Okay. The energy is different, the information is different. All you gotta do is change the information and you will get a different expression. What about a person who is healthy versus a person who is sick? Right, same thing. Material expression and information. Yes, Marianne. Oh, do you have a question? Oops.
No, I just want to kind of like give my input about how to change, the behavior of the grow up kid. Like when I was driving, I heard that it's easy for you to change your son behavior because he was young. But what if the kid was grow up, right? So for example, my daughter, um, I changed my behavior first. Before I was so bad. I spank her, I yell at her, whatever. But then after I learned about the principle of light, I realized what I did was wrong. I realized that I created uh, the monster, you know. So one day I sit my daughter down, and then I apologize. I have to apologize. I tell her that what I did in the past was wrong. I apologize for all I did, and from now on, we're going to start all over again. And then I have to practice what I said. Okay, I stopped yelling. I asked her, to do the chores. What is this? Exactly the same thing that I did before, but before, like, hey, do this, do that. It's time to, do this, do that. But no, I don't say that anymore. I said, okay, could you please, do the dishes? Could you please go to bed, early, and then I will, explain it to her that, okay, the reason I'm asking her to go to bed early because if she want to have a beautiful skin, healthier, life, and have more energy to play with her friends at school or something like that. But I mean, like inside of me is full with orange juice. So that's what I put out, orange juice, and my daughter feel it. And I even told her that, okay, it's not easy to change, right away. Everything takes time. So if I ever go back to my bad behavior before, remind me, like, oh, mom, you are having a tantrum right now or whatever, right? So, if I can tell from my daughter expression, right? So my daughter expression is the mirror of me, of what I am at that moment. So by looking at her behavior, I know, I did some wrong. I say some, bad. And then I corrected right away. I said, oops, I don't say sorry anymore, but I said, oh, appreciate for your patience. I appreciate your understanding. I'm still learning. We both learning, and we're going to change from now on. And then from that moment, my daughter changed her expression, changed her behavior. So that's how we change our relationship. Yeah, you just can go from black to white. Like yesterday you were, so bad, yelling and, hitting. And then the next day you are nice. And then you don't explain it, to the person. Then they will say, oh, are you faking now? Are you on drug or whatever? So you have to explain the progress that you and your family going to do from now on. But you have to do it first. You have to change yourself first. You have to become an orange. So when anything happens, when somebody squeeze you, then the orange juice will come out. If you if I feel with bitter juice, then when I'm under stress, somebody squeeze me, of course, they will receive what? The bitterness, the negative, energies. So that's just I want to share. And then in order to control my life, um, I was thinking, life is like a all you can eat buffet. Okay. So when I go to the buffet, I have a choice, right? Okay, so I have in my image that okay, from now on, I'm going to be eating healthy food because I want uh, to become healthier. So I have a choice. Okay, in the buffet they have all kind of either healthy food like salad, bars, whatever, and then junk food like French fries and deep fries, and healthy food is steam and whatever. So I have a choice. When I walk in, I have a choice. I said, okay, from now on, I'm going to eat healthy food. So I will pick healthy food, and I stay away from, the food that filled with, lousy cholesterol. Okay, so I have to have a mental image, and I have to gather information like, okay, in order to become healthier, what I'm going to do first. I have to start out with eating healthy. I have to start out with, exercise, work out a little bit, maybe 10, 15 minutes, trust here and there, yoga, whatever. So I have to start with me first. So I have to change myself first before I can not really change anybody, but if I change myself, then everybody around me, everything around me will change. So it's like I send out a positive energy, then anything around me will receive that positive energy and they will react to my positive energy. So I don't know, I just want to share, my idea and how my life become better and my relationship with my daughter again a lot better. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for
That's
sharing.
all.
Thank you, Marianne, for a very good visual imaging. Okay, okay, that's a very excellent sharing that had contained a lot of visual and taste. You can even taste the sharing. Okay, so good sharing. Okay, that's one way to transmit. Okay, your reality. When it comes to the external circumstances or the behavior of other people, it is the outcome in the equation of law and cause and effect. Okay, the seed and the fruit. Whatever we experience, whether it's other people's behavior or images or things that come into us, it is the outcome. If we try to change other people's behavior, we're actually trying to change the fruit of the tree. Okay, get that image into your mind. There is the seed, and then there's a fruit. The seed will grow into a tree, the tree will bear fruit. If we experience anything that is undesirable, it is a negative fruit. If we try to change the other people's behavior, what we're trying to do is to trying to turn a bad fruit into a good fruit. Think about that. If we try to change the behavior of other people, we are actually trying to change a bad fruit into a good fruit. You cannot change a bad fruit into good fruit. You can only plant new seed or work on the seed and nurture the seed, okay? Cultivate the tree so that it would bear good fruit, right? That's why law of causality is a natural law, okay? And it also aligns with the principle of that the current, the flow. If we try to change other people's behavior, essentially it's trying to change a bad fruit into a good fruit. You cannot change a fruit that is bad into a good fruit. The tree already bore fruit. You can only go to work on the seed. gonna only go to work on the fruit. And if our children misbehave, if our children talk and do things that is we consider undesirable, guess where do they get the hearing and the seeing from? Get what their mental images come from in our home. Who else, right? We give them the images. Where else
Yeah.
can we get it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. From
So
adults.
yeah, in our home.
That's
So
it.
if our
That's it. I
children,
said they
yeah,
are our mirror. They
exactly.
are
So
mirror.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, root cause of life begins with me. Okay. And so in this philosophy, we also have a saying, and you want to write it down. We have a saying that to expect change in other people is the beginning of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
To
Yep.
change yourself is the beginning of happiness. You want to write that one down and you can study it. To expect change in others is the beginning of suffering. To change oneself is the beginning of happiness. Okay? The law of causality. We change the seed of mental image within us, we begin to cultivate that seed of happiness. But to try to change and expect to change other people is trying to turn a bad fruit into a good fruit. You will only suffer. It will not help ourselves. It will not help other people. So guess what we're doing? We're going to go to work on changing the seed within us. Okay, we're talking about the triangle of reality. Everything has a material expression, including things like happiness, including things like success, including things like healthy relationship. Okay, it has an energy component. We'll talk about that later. It has an information. Okay, so if we're gonna try to change the outcome of our life,
Mm-hmm.
which is a material expression, what are the information within us? Guess what we've been doing
I
all.
remember, Frank, can I say something? I remember one of the doctor, I believe his name is Wayne Dyer. I'm not sure about the spelling, but I listened to his podcast and he said something. Um, you change the way you look at things, the thing you look at change.
Thank you.
That I remember, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So guess what we've been doing this past, several sessions. We've been helping you expand your awareness so that the information within us will change. Okay. When it comes to a human being, okay, when it comes to a human being, the information within us is we're gonna draw another triangle. Okay. In fact, just write it down here. The information within us, okay, is what we know, what we believe, and what we understand. Okay, I'm just going to keep it that simple. Okay, what we know, what we believe, and what we understand. In the inner being courses that I will probably go back to after this whole series on understanding humanity, we'll get into more into the philosophical discussion on what it means to basically what we know, what we believe, and what we understand makes up the information within us. Just like the proton and the electron makes up the construction of lead and gold. What we know, what we believe, and what we understand makes up the information within us. And the information within us eventually will manifest in material form in terms of our life experience. Okay, this is the causality of human life and experience. And the cause of human life experience, the seed, is what we know, what we believe, and what we understand. Okay, another word we use that. So from now on, when we refer to the information within us, when we refer to the knowledge and belief and understanding within us, basically make that which makes up our perception and awareness, okay, is we call it the source concept. Okay, so this is just a technical terminology. And when every time I say source concept, just know that I'm talking about what we know, what we believe, what we understand. In other words, when mentioning things like happiness, what we know about happiness, what we believe about happiness, what we understand about happiness makes up the source concept, represent the source concept of happiness, which then will represent our reality of happiness. Okay, over here, the material expression is the reality, okay, of life. Okay. When mentioning relationship, what we know about relationship, what we believe about relationship, what we understand about relationship, represent our source concept of relationship, represent our reality of relationship. Okay, so when a person have a certain knowledge, belief, and understanding that is negative, they have a negative source concept or unbeneficial source concept. Guess what? The reality of that is going to be negative and undesirable as well. So we want to change the reality of life. We change what we know, change what we believe, change what we understand. Turn it from negative to positive. It's just as, just simple philosophical logic, that's all, okay? With that triangle of reality, so this is called a reality triangle or triangle of reality. Reality triangle. It is a tool. It is one of our standard prime reference system. And we will refer to this tool, this reality triangle, again and again and again. With this tool, we're going to light up the first candle in our house of holistic wealth, wisdom. Okay, so the next 20 minutes, I'm going to talk very briefly about wisdom. If we have time, we'll talk more next week. Yeah, let's take a look at reality of wisdom. Okay, this is a reality triangle, and we're going to apply the reality triangle to wisdom. So what we're going to get is the reality of wisdom. With wisdom, let's draw a candle, a nice candle. Okay. Nice candle there. Nice word, wisdom. Okay. With wisdom, there are three corners of a triangle. There is the material expression of wisdom, which we'll get to eventually. There is an energy of wisdom, which we may or may not get to today. And there's the information of wisdom. Okay, information of wisdom, or the source concept of wisdom. Okay. Now, when it comes to wisdom, does anybody have any clear conception of wisdom? Most of the time, we hear things like wisdom. We may see images like an old man or an old woman, maybe some people who have a lot of experience in life, but nobody can really define wisdom, huh? And because we have never come to a clear and concrete definition of wisdom, we have never been able to experience it or know what it is or how to grasp it. But if we can simplify it, if we can visualize it, if we can internalize it, if we can conceptualize it, then it becomes a simple matter to actually hold wisdom in our hand. Okay, we can actually hold the fruit of wisdom in our hand. And here is a very, very simple definition of wisdom. Okay, the information of wisdom, okay, or the source concept of wisdom is simply this. Wisdom is simply understood as the state of awareness of a person. Go ahead and write that down if you want to. Wisdom can simply be understood as a state of awareness of a person. Okay, wisdom can simply be understood as a state of awareness of wisdom. In the information corner of the triangle of reality of wisdom, there are 5 levels Okay, so wisdom can simply be understood as a state of awareness of a person. There are 5 levels of awareness corresponding to 5 levels of wisdom. That's it. Wisdom can simply be understood as a state of awareness of a person. There are 5 levels of awareness corresponding to 5 levels of wisdom. Pretty simple. In other words, a person who is considered very wise will have greater levels of wisdom, greater levels of awareness. Okay, a person who's very wise has a greater, more expansive level of awareness. They are more aware of things than people who are not very wise. Okay, with this definition, it becomes very simple to grasp and simple to use. So once again, wisdom can simply be understood as a state of awareness of a person. And the next statement is that there are 5 levels of awareness corresponding to 5 levels of wisdom. Okay, so let's take a look at those levels of awareness. Okay. And you will see how all of your inquiry up till now will make sense when we talk in terms of these 5 levels. Okay, wisdom. Level. Let's do this. Hang on. Let's do. I know. I remember now. Okay, let's do this. We're going to call it level 1. Okay. There are 5 levels of awareness corresponding to 5 levels of wisdom. So level 1, awareness. Level 1, awareness. Okay, level 1, awareness. Level 1 awareness is a state of awareness of true, false, good, bad, like, dislike, should not. The level 1 awareness of a person is a state of awareness of good, bad, true, false, like or dislike, should or should not. Do you notice that we all have that? At the moment that we come into contact with any message from the external world, we apply level 1, awareness. That is good, that's bad. I like it, I don't like it. Should not, true or false. Level 1 awareness is a pretty important one. Yeah, we need level 1 awareness to survive in this world, knowing what's good, what's bad, what we should or we should not do. We like something or we dislike something. Okay. As a child, he or she come to awareness of level 1 very, very quickly in life. The first time we put our hand in the fire, we know immediately good, bad. Okay, should or should not. Our awareness expand to with respect to fire. All right. The first time that we express our opinion about something and somebody react immediately, we get an awareness of good or bad, should or should not, like or dislike. Okay. Awareness of level 1 is a very natural awareness, a state of awareness, and that is part of being human. And we carry this throughout our entire life. Level 1 awareness is a state of awareness of good or bad, should or should not, like or dislike. Okay. However, if we go through life and we are constantly judging things to be good and bad, like or dislike, should or should not, you find that after a while it gets a little tiring. This is where the problem comes in. We see a person and we immediately judge them as good or bad. We see a person and we immediately judge them as I like them or not like them. We encounter a situation and immediately we go into the fight or flight mode. Nowadays, fight or flight mode, like or dislike. So a lot of stress, okay? And a lot of suffering comes from this awareness of things being good and bad, should or should not. When we look at our children, that behavior is good, that behavior is bad. I like that behavior, I don't like that behavior. You should do this, you should not do that. And we apply to ourselves. I should do this, but I shouldn't do that. It gets tiring after a while, it gets stressful, especially if we are the kind of person who are prone to judging something as bad. If we have a habit or a tendency to come across a situation and we judge that as I don't like it, or we judge that it's bad, or we judge that it should not, then that is the seed that we've been planting. Yeah. Yeah. We've been planting a seed of negative awareness. Then we're going to reap the fruit of negativity in our life. Okay. So how do we protect ourselves? How do we apply wisdom? Whereas wisdom can simply be understood as a state of awareness of a person, simply having awareness does not give us the light that we want. It just kind of be automatic. The awareness just kind of come automatically. Okay. But a person of wisdom is able to do, I'm just going to say over here with awareness, we have positive and negative. Okay. Just going to keep it simple like that. Like or dislike, positive and negative. A person of wisdom, watch this. A person of wisdom proactively choose the positive. A person of wisdom apply the principle of light. A person of wisdom choose to believe in what they want and not what they don't want. A person of wisdom will look at another person and trying to identify the good thing about them and be grateful for, make a big deal out of it, as opposed to a person of no wisdom. A person of wisdom understand the principle of light, understand that aligning one's belief with our desire in a positive direction will give us a positive outcome in life. A person of wisdom will choose to acknowledge his son for putting the dry towel next to the shower instead of punishing him for refusing to play piano. A person of wisdom understand that if you feed your seed, if you plant your garden with positive seed and keep on watering those positive seed, they're going to grow up as plants and trees of positivity, and we will eventually reap the benefit of positivity. A person of wisdom understand also that working on changing ourselves is the beginning of happiness, whereas trying to fix other people is the beginning of suffering. Okay? Whereas we all have awareness of positive and negative. We all have good and bad. We all like and dislike. But a person of wisdom will proactively choose the positive. It's that simple. Okay, it's that simple. Anybody want to share anything about this? And this is important. And Ron or Marianne, have you been able to apply the principle of light with respect to level 1 wisdom, where you can positively look at a situation or another person? All you need is level 1 wisdom to completely change your life, as I have done with my relationship with my son. Let me share a story about my relationship with my wife and my son. Whereas previously, before we studied this philosophy, my wife has a mental image of our son that is negative, generally negative. Okay. Why doesn't he listen? Why is he so stubborn? Why doesn't he study? Why is he always playing video game? Those are all negative mental images. Her hearing, her seeing, her speaking, her talking, and makes up her knowing about our son is negative. One day, my wife went to pick up our son from school, Sunday school, It was a Vietnamese class. I think he was studying Vietnamese. And the teacher came and said, "Oh, are you Minh Đức mom?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm Minh Đức mom." And the teacher said, "Oh, wow, Minh Đức is such a good student. He raises his hand, he does his homework, he contributes to class, and he is such an active and lively and studious boy." Totally different mental image of our son. And from that moment on, my wife chose to look at our son from a positive light. She realized, okay, she come to a realization that what she see about our son is not the real thing. It is just her perception that give meaning to our son. And the other person, the other teacher, she has a totally different perception about our son, a positive perception about our son. And guess what? Her experience of our son is positive. She has a wonderful student in class who raises his hand, who contribute to class, who help other student, who does his homework. Whereas previously, my wife experience of our son is negative. Disappointment, for instance, frustration, those are life experiences. But the moment that my wife changes her perception of our son, she focuses on the positive. Her perception about her our son changes. Her energy change. Our son's energy change, and so our new experience with our son also changed. We planted new seed, and we got new fruit. Does that make sense? And that's just level one wisdom. Many people go to the grave never realizing that. That's kind of sad. The world that we live in have awareness of good and bad, and most of the time we are focusing on the bad. And we wonder why the world is the way it is. We wonder why there are problems in the world. We wonder why there are war. We wonder why there are cruelty, all because people have never been taught, they have never been given a favorable source concept about awareness and wisdom. But we're kind of fortunate. Okay, we're fortunate to be in this space at this time, talking about this philosophy and giving ourselves a new expanded awareness about ourselves and about other people. We have raised our level of wisdom to level one. We proactively choose to look at another person, another event, ourselves in a positive light. From where? From nothing. Yeah, from nothing. It's hard to go from negative to positive unless you balance yourself and go to nothing, go to zero, go to emptiness. The essence of all things is emptiness. Okay, all things are essentially empty. Whatever meaning we give to it, let's use some wisdom and give some positive meaning to it. We'll save level 2 and 3 for next week. Okay, any question, any lesson, impression, and realization?
It's really good.
Okay. What's good? What part is good?
The wisdom to always see the positive in another person. To, I don't want to say manipulate, but to do the right thing, to teach that person as a child. So encourage them, make them feel good. They're going to listen more if they feel good. Always have a chocolate bar ready.
Not necessarily that way. That would be like manipulation. Okay, here it's not about manipulation.
Word.
Okay.
Something of encouragement.
Okay. Yeah.
Encouragement.
Genuine, authentic acknowledgement of that which is good. Not from the expectation to change. Remember, to expect the change of other people is the beginning of suffering. You can behave, you can pretend to say good thing, but deep inside of us, if we're expecting that person to change, then we're trying to change them, then we're actually trying to change the bad fruit. But because of life begin with me, okay, everything is from my own perception. It is about an authentic change in our own perspective, our own perception of another person that will give us a fruit of a better life, not the changing of the other person that will give us a better life.
Can
But
I,
yeah.
you finish, and I'm going to run you an example, and I just want your opinion on.
Okay, yeah. So once again, changing our perception about another person is changing the fruit. Sorry, changing the seed, right? Perception, our inner awareness, our mental images, our hearing and seeing. Changing our perception is changing the seed that will give us a new fruit. Trying to change other people is like trying to fix the bad fruit that's already bad. It just doesn't work. It goes against the principle of light. It goes against causality. You have to work on the cause, not the outcome. So by changing our own perception about another person, changing our mental images about another person, our hearing and seeing, our talking and our knowing about another person, we plant new seed. And from those seeds, if you keep on nurturing it, keep on watering it, keep on planting new seed, eventually those seeds will grow to be a positive experience of that other person. Okay, it only comes with experience and practice. Just do it. As other people in this Zoom who have already experienced it. Okay. Sometimes it's difficult to believe. Our source concept is what we know, what we believe, and what we understand. What I'm giving you now is just something to know. It's just information, just to know. Okay. You experience it, you believe it. Once you understand it, you can repeat it and plant your own seed and create your own new life. Get it?
Yeah.
That is the seed of wisdom. Okay. Work on our own perception. Every time we open our mouth, we talk about something, we ask, okay, slow. Okay, stop, put on a break. Let's go back. Let's go back, right? What's coming out of my mouth? Where is the cause of that? What is the seed of that? My mental images, my hearing and my seeing, my talking, my knowing. Am I trying to change the other person? Oh, if I'm trying to change the other person, that means I'm trying to change the bad fruit into a good fruit. It doesn't work. I'm going against the current. I can try. Oh, I can try. But God knows I've been trying for decades. Does it work? We've been trying to change other people. Okay, we've been rowing against that current. Years and years and years. We put a lot of effort. Lots and lots of effort. Okay. It just doesn't work. Because it's a principle of the natural law. We try to go against it all the time, just like gravity. Okay. Gravity always pulls everything together. In order to counter gravity, we have to expend a tremendous amount of resources. But if a person understands a principle of lift, for example, they can build a kite or a glider and they can fly with very little effort against gravity. Do you get that? Gravity always pulls us down. To go up, it's like, sending a rocket up, an airplane up in the air. It takes a lot of resources, a lot of fuel, a lot of fire, a lot of money invested in countering gravity and going up. A couple of days ago, SpaceX sent a rocket. Oh, with a beautiful sight. Did anyone see that one? In Southern California, we got the benefit of seeing a beautiful rocket, a SpaceX rocket, sending satellite into the atmosphere. But gosh, that takes a lot of resources to counter the principle of gravity. But a person who understands another principle, still part of gravity, but another principle called the principle of lift, of the pressure difference between air above the wing and air below the wing, they build a kite or a glider, and the glider and the plane can fly in the air with minimal or no effort at all because they understood a different principle. So we've been trying to go against the current, paddling, rowing against the current. Well, now you are now aware of a new principle called the principle of light. Just align ourselves with that principle of light. Focus on changing our perception from negative to positive about another person, then we will glide smoothly. After hearing that, do you still want to share your question or example?
I do, but
Yeah.
I could touch a few things, but it's 11:02 here. And
Hmm.
I'm probably going to take too long.
No, that's fine. I got time.
So I'm just going to start off by something before I forget. So when it comes to current, I don't want to say we're going to go against the current, but, and I'm going to bring this into something else. But when we take that wing, if we don't go directly against the current, but we go at a 45-degree angle to that current, we actually gain speed. We can actually go somewhat not directly against the current. And I'm going to get to why I'm mentioning this. So we can go against the current, get to point B, where we started from. We can go back. It does take some effort because you got to hold it, but you actually gain speed. So the reason I'm going to say this is because let's say a scenario where you got a child. So we got older people. They're more stubborn sometimes. Sometimes they're receptive. You can still teach them. But let's go with a child. A child is like a new tree. And if it's the parent or the uncle or the grandfather or the grandmother, the adult is the stick. The stick is firm. It has the wisdom. It supports the tree in the growth. So the tree grows straight and strong. Now I'm going to give you an example. There's a child, a little boy. He goes up to his uncle's cottage. He's only been there a couple times. He doesn't realize that there's thousands of mosquitoes that keep biting you and coming in the cottage and making the cottage inside uncomfortable. It's a new place to him. He wasn't really trained to close doors after himself. So you remind him, you tell him. You tell him all Saturday long, but he just can't remember. And he loves going in and out because he likes the deck. Nighttime, he just leaves the door open and there was a curtain there. You didn't know the door was open and the place is filled with flies and you keep swatting yourself. So I got an idea. I'm going to make this fun. Sunday morning, I'm going to say to him, hey, do you want to play a game? We're going to play a game. Go get your brother. We're going to play a game. We're going to go to every door in this place. There's 3 doors going outside. We're going to open every door, A, B, C. We're going to open and close, open and close, open and close, open and close. We're going to do it 20 times and see who can do it the fastest. And they'll start, and it's fun because they're kids, eh? They're having a race at it. And I'll say, you got to close it all the way. And then in the middle of it, not even in the middle, the first 5, I'm going to give them a cookie. I'm going to give them a raisin. I'm going to say, hey, here, drink this. I'm going to try to make them happy. But with that repetition, this stick is going to teach that kid a lesson once and for all. Because I'm not going to be telling that kid this weekend, next weekend, and the next weekend because he doesn't listen. So I'm going to train him, and I'm going to be consistent, and I'm going to do it in half an hour forever. So I don't know. What do you think of that? Is that okay?
I
Am I
think
changing somebody? What am I doing here? Is there a different way? I don't know. Actually, I did it and it works. So
good. If that's what you want.
So the reason I talk about the wing, so I windsurf, you could take a surfboard. It doesn't even have a sail on it, but it's got a fin. And that fin, when you're going against that wave, you're actually gaining speed against the wave at an angle. So you can do it It takes a little more work. You're not going to actually.
In that case, you're actually aligning yourself with a more powerful current.
So I'm doing that. I'm trying to apply that in what you're saying tonight.
Okay. Yeah. In the windsurfing, you're okay.
I
In
might.
the windsurfing, you're aligning yourself with the wind current, with along with the principle of lift, which is the shape of the wind. And so you are able to get from A to B faster because you are essentially aligning yourself, and you are able to discover a principle and a law that is favorable to getting what you want in life. And so you
To
got
get
it.
it. And it's not always easy.
And yeah.
Sometimes you
So
gotta go.
but when it comes to the child, if you believe that teaching them with a stick in half an hour is the principle in getting what you want in from A to B, then go ahead.
I
I'm
didn't
not
say
gonna stop you. I'm
you
not gonna
say
stop you. I'm
I
not
didn't
gonna stop you. Yeah, but wait and see, right? Usually, okay, first of all, um, the child hasn't learned anything. The only lesson that he learned is the stick,
hold on, you misunderstood me.
right?
I did not say using the stick as a weapon.
Okay,
I say that. I compared it to a tree. A new tree, a
okay,
tree is planted with a stick next to it.
okay,
The stick, the tree has tie wires to the
mm,
stick. The stick is firm. The stick is
okay.
wise. The
So you're
stick,
talking about firmness and not a rod that you beat the kid with.
not, I never
Okay,
even thought of that.
okay. So you're talking about firmness
I'm
and
talking
being okay,
about support.
okay,
And it's wisdom. The stick is wisdom.
okay. So how do you apply that to changing the behavior of a child about closing the door? Can you be more specific?
To support that
Mm-hmm.
young. I'm
Okay.
not trying to change the tree. The tree is not an old person. This is
Mm.
a young person
Yeah.
who's developing. I'm
Wonderful.
not going to change the person. I've been accused of changing. No, I'm not changing.
Mm.
This is a young tree that needs to grow straight. I am the stick. I am the
Yeah.
wise one. And I can support that child to grow straight.
Yeah.
Give an example of the doors in the cottage with 1,000 mosquitoes. Ron, you're in the trees. You get it. 1,000 mosquitoes that attack you come in your house. It's uncomfortable, but the kid just doesn't get it. So you make a game of it. I'm not changing them, and I'm making it fun because I'm
Oh,
a good guy. I'm going to make
yeah.
it fun, and I'm going to do it quickly. I'm not just going to be that nice guy who's going to just repeat this time, the next time repeat. What I'm going to do too, as he's going out to play, I'm going to stop him. I say, hey, come here. He thinks he's going to go out and play. No, you come back. We're going to play a game here. And he will want to go play, but no, he's going to be delayed in his playing. Basically, it's going to be my way, but I'm going to do it nicely. I'm going to go against the current. It's going to be the harder way, but we're going to get there quicker. It's a bit harder, and he will learn in half an hour.
Okay.
I just wanted to share that. Am I doing anything wrong? Is there a
I
better way?
think
Is there
I'm
a
not
more
gonna judge it
pleasant
right or
way?
wrong. Okay. So
I don't want to be accused of changing anybody. I think
mhm.
I'm supporting growth is what I'm doing. Now, if I could do that with an old man who's 80 and stubborn at the snooker table about keeping score, I just try to be nice, be positive, and say everyone will be happier if we just stick to positive score, not negative. Don't use negatives. I'm taking up too much time. I'm done.
Oh,
I spent
I
11
think
minutes.
I think you are going in the right direction. Okay.
Thank
I think you're getting it, and I think you're absorbing the material and you're internalizing it and coming up with favorable, positive mental images, and it's a
Realistic.
great, yeah, this is a example of a great learning experience and a great feedback. So I'm very honored by that sharing. I'm grateful for the sharing. I'm not going to tell you it's right or wrong. It is for up to each of us and our awareness and our perception and our wisdom, okay, to apply it. And you will know right away, very soon if that's right or wrong. Because if we get the outcome in life that is desirable, then that's going to be the right way to do it. But if
Yeah.
what we do and it causes negativity in our own mentality, our own person, or it can cause negativity in other person, if it harms our relationship with other person,
Create
then
resentment.
yeah,
Create resentment. We don't want that.
exactly, yeah. So if you just kind of go through the checklist, right? And everything is nice and positive, and if you can maintain balance, then yeah, that's a good checklist to know that we're going along the current.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks, Frank. Thanks everybody for your patience. I know I was going on a lot
that
there.
was a wonderful, for sharing. Okay, so you guys are really coming along really fast.
Okay.
Okay, I will see
Thanks,
you
Frank.
guys next week.
See you next
Mhm.
week. Have a great one. Take care, Ron.
Take care. All right. Good night.
Everyone, have a
Thank
good
you
night.
for sharing. Good night.
Bye.